Hello, welcome to Take 5. I'm Sam Allberry. Jesus Christ said, "I am the Good Shepherd." Now, there's a game I remember playing once where there's a few of you playing, and each of you has to try to figure out what animal you think you're like and what animal you think the other players are like. And the fun is sort of meant to be in discovering the difference between how you see yourself and how everybody else sees you. You might think, well, I'm like a lion or I'm like an eagle. I've got a sort of sense of presence and majesty, but then everyone else says you're more like a field mouse or a puppy. And you're thinking, well, okay, that's kind of sweet, but not very formidable. Well, something similar happens when we open the pages of the Bible. God repeatedly says that spiritually, the animal we are most like is a sheep. It's why Jesus makes this claim, "I am the Good Shepherd." And by saying that, Jesus is saying something actually quite unflattering about ourselves. We may think, well, sheep, okay, they're kind of impish and cute in kids' cartoons and Shaun the Sheep and that kind of thing. But actually to be likened to a sheep is not very flattering at all. Sheep are not clever. There was a story on the BBC News a couple of years ago about a group of shepherds in Turkey, and they were just eating their breakfast and they were neglecting their sheep just for a few moments whilst they ate their breakfast. And it was only a short time, but it was long enough for complete disaster to take place. One of the sheep started walking towards a cliff and walked over it, and the rest of the sheep just followed. And the only reason that 1,100 of the sheep survived is because their fall was broken by the 400 or 500 sheep that didn't survive. Sheep are just not very clever, and nor are they very strong. Sheep don't have horns or sharp teeth or claws or venom. They're not fast, they're not agile, they can't climb trees, they can't growl or hiss or roar. All they can do is bleat. So they're pretty vulnerable. They're very defenseless. For predators, a sheep is basically a ready meal or a TV dinner. It's just there, ready and waiting for them. And that is the animal God says that we are most like spiritually. So when Jesus says, "I am the Good Shepherd," he's saying something unflattering about us, but he's saying something essential about himself. In other words, he's saying, spiritually, we're just not very clever. On our own, we can't figure out who God is and what he's like. But Jesus can show us those things. By saying he's the Good Shepherd, Jesus is also saying that, again, spiritually, we're weak. We're often driven by our base motives. We're not the people we sense that we're meant to be, and even some of our good deeds come from really mixed motives. And we can't lift ourselves up out of that way of being. But by claiming to be the Good Shepherd, Jesus says he can. You see, the one thing sheep most desperately need is a decent shepherd. And the shepherd is everything to the sheep. The shepherd provides for them, the shepherd leads them, the shepherd protects them, the shepherd cares for them. And so when Jesus says, "I am the Good Shepherd," he's not just saying, "Oh, I kind of like sheep," or "I'm a really good listener." He's saying he can be everything that we need. He can be the one to lead us through this life and on into eternity. And Jesus goes on to show us just how committed he is. He says, "I am the Good Shepherd," and the Good Shepherd lays down his life for his sheep. Jesus is so committed to us that he was willing to face a death he says that we deserve, to take on himself all of our weakness, all of our spiritual ridiculousness, and to absorb it so that we could, through him, find spiritual life and direction. So Jesus says, "I'm the Good Shepherd." I hope you will find him someone that you can follow and you can trust.